Yo, it's good. So today, just gonna be talking about. Do you want to take a wild guess of what we're talking about today? Just take a wild guess, bro. It's the brain. Hopefully you guessed right because that would be crazy if you didn't. But we'll just be talking about the parts of the brain, the major parts, because I got a psych midterm coming up, and OChem is over with. 102, I am way behind in, and psych. I just gotta review this because I got a midterm coming up. So, how should I start this? So okay, first we'll be just look over the general anatomy. So there's like three parts, right? There's the hindbrain, there's the forebrain, and there's the midbrain. So the forebrain, I'll just like label it like this. We kind of have like it's like the majority of the brain. It's just like this outer area minus that inner circle area. So like that. This, but wait, I want it to be a straight line. This is going to be the forebrain, and we'll get into like what it includes in the future. Wait, let me just circle this and copy it just in case I want to write it again. We'll just get into like what's included in each one of those in a bit, but yeah, that's the first one. So now next one we have the hindbrain, or like the hindbrain. This is majority, like it's just like this part here. And then we have the midbrain, which is all of this in here. Okay, nice. So we have the midbrain, the forebrain, and the hindbrain. So those are the main three, like kind of areas that we're going to be looking at. And now we'll just look at what is in each of these lobes, or each of these areas. That's what I meant. But so I guess we could just zoom in on the forebrain, if this will paste. So the forebrain. So what's included in here? Well, we have the cerebral cortex. What is the cerebral cortex, you may ask? Well, it's just the outer layer with 4 lobes. Now, you might be asking, what are these 4 lobes? Well, I'm glad you asked because I have the answers right here. First, we have the occipital lobe. Wait, I'm not going to write this every time. We also have the temporal lobe. We have the frontal lobe. And we have the parietal lobe. So now just a brief word or two about what each one does. Occipital, like optometry, occipital, like optometry. Occipital means you look, vision. Temporal, by your temples, by your ears, hearing. Frontal, I don't know, personality. I think that's just something you might need to just remember. Parietal, I don't really know. That's just sensory. This is like very brief summary of each one. You know, they all have their own kind of things, but that's what we'll just be looking at for now. So that's like the cerebral cortex. Something else that we have is the basal ganglia. What this does, it's just focus on motor function. Specifically, like how to get somewhere. We also have the limbic system. And this is comprised of 3 main parts. We have the hippocampus, Wait, Loki's getting congested. Hippocampus. We also have the amygdala. What was now? The amygdala. Well, I was just saying it somewhere else. Amygdala. And then the nucleus accumbens. So hippocampus, well, the way I remember it and the way my psych prof taught me is hippo is on campus. The hippo is memorizing lessons. It's memory. Amygdala. Amy is glada. Amy is glad. She is feeling good. This is good emotion. Nucleus accumbens. Accumbens, you accumulate accolades, accumulate reward. Boom. Look at us go. So we have the limbic system so far, the basal ganglia, and the cerebral cortex, all of which are parts of the forebrain. So some other things that we should probably go over is we also have the thalamus. Thalamus is mainly responsible for relaying sensory information to the correct parts of the brain. So it's kind of like a post office. And then we also have the hypothalamus. And this is mainly just responsible for like controlling hormones. So there you go. These are the main portions or parts of the forebrain. Now I guess we could just start with labeling each part onto like the what do you call it, onto the diagram. This is going to be kind of messy, I'm not going to lie. How should I do this? Well, so this diagram is not exactly like perfect for this, but here we have the thalamus. Perfect. I don't think this shows the wait, okay, maybe. Well, I really did not think this through, bro. Where's the basal ganglia? You know what? We're just gonna say all of this shit's in there, bro. Like, I don't really know. But, yeah, maybe we should include this part as the forebrain rather than, like, deleting all that. But, yeah, this is not specific anatomy, bro. This is just a general overview, because I did not learn each specific part of each one, but all of these are probably going to be contained within here, so I guess we could just draw all these arrows. But just know that the cerebral cortex is just the outer layer, so that's something to know, and that'll help with knowing. Well, yeah, so that's the forebrain. I guess we could move on to the midbrain now. The midbrain is, I don't think there's much to it. Yeah, I don't really think these through when I make them, but perhaps I should. So you might be asking now, what is the parts of the midbrain? Well, we have the reticular formation, we have the superior colliculi and the inferior colliculi. I am now just looking at my notes so I don't make sure I don't mess up. I really don't know how these are labeled I think this is the spinal cord, no? This is what I was confused as to, like, what part am I even labeling? So, yeah, I don't really know. This is not really diagram anatomy. This is just general information of functions and shit like that. So, let's see. Reticular formation. I'm just going over the information that I learned in class, and it'll just help me organize these in my mind. So, reticular formation, that helps with regulating consciousness. This is kind of like a brain dump, if you will. but I need to make sure that I'm getting it right. Um, Otherwise, like, I don't know. We also have the inferior colliculi. So, and then also write the superior colliculi just so I could explain what I'm thinking here. So inferior means below, right? Inferior is down. Superior is up, right? So superior up, inferior down. And these relate to your eyes and your nose. Not eyes and your ears. So are your eyes above your ears? I'm just looking at myself in the reflection, and yes, my eyes are in fact above my ears. So superior colliculi is for your eyes, and the inferior colliculi is for your ears. So what does it do specifically? Well, this one here is visual reflex, kind of like eye movement. The inferior colliculi is just hearing. That is all I know about it. And there you go, that's the midbrain. So we'll get into the last part, the hindbrain, which should be also quite simple now. I'll just circle this part. Hindbrain. Bro, I'm actually getting cooked by midterms, bro. Like, not cooked, like it hasn't gone bad yet, but it's like, but I'm not looking forward to this. So you have the hindbrain. This is like the last part. You have the medulla oblongata. I think I butchered the spelling here, but in my class, when she was explaining this, she said that it's called the medulla now, and that they got rid of the oblongata part as the official name, but I don't know. So what is the medulla oblongata, you might ask? Well, what that is responsible is just like autonomic function, like basic life functions, like things like swallowing, digestion, also more important things like heartbeat, and also breathing. So this is just the main function of basic life function. Next up, we have the pons. So what we learned about the pons is that this is just the last part before the spinal cord. Before spinal cord. And it's just, relaying information from the higher nervous system to the lower nervous system, which is basically what I wrote. Like, you could infer it from that last statement. Also, it controls glands for the face and neck, so facial expressions. And also, it's a backup for the respiratory. Something that's a common theme in the brain is that there's a lot of backups. So, yeah. Last thing we have in the hindbrain is the cerebellum. The cerebellum. I don't know. This is basically just a mini brain. As it does quite a bit of everything, like a little bit of everything. Some specifics you might ask. Well, it's more focused on balance, muscle coordination, and muscle tone. So that's the hindbrain. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, that's basically all I have. We didn't learn that much about the brain in this class because again, it's just psychology, and like psychology is about the brain, I guess, but like we didn't learn so specifics on like what each part does. It's just like a general like information on what each part of the brain is and like kind of a basic like function of each one. So yeah, honestly, that's going to wrap up this video. Sorry because it's not really organized. I don't really intend it to be organized. It's more of just like it's just like a brain dump, kind of blurting out, if you will, but I just make sure that the information is right because I don't want to be like knowing the wrong information and also like giving out the wrong information. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep on doing this in that case. Like it really helps, but I'm also like this helps for the current courses I'm in. I also started tutoring like a second job. And that's courses I did in the past, so yeah, I think I'll keep on doing this. This is just this is like, bro, this is nothing, bro. This is just like 30 minutes of my day, just reviewing material. So this is really beneficial for me, honestly, especially with chemistry, because I understood chemistry so well when I was doing this, and then as soon as I stopped and as soon as I got behind in that class, like I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's pretty much all for today, and I'll see you in the next one tomorrow. Goodbye.